Welcome back everyone. Now a couple of videos ago I posted just raw footage which was filmed by someone who's on Christmas Island, and the title was just Christmas Island January 2021. Now this video we're going to talk about it, and to refresh your memory, here's a quick recap of some of the footage.
That's a lot, man. That's enough. You want to shoot from out there? Come shoot from in here. Come shoot from in here, bro.
Alright, as you might have been able to tell, my first focus was getting this footage on as many platforms so as many people could see it as possible. And so I'd like to say a quick shout out and thank you to Sam Cedar of the Majority Report for retweeting the footage of the guards firing tear gas over the fence. On behalf of the people that want a better Australia, thank you. And that leads me to Senator Nick McKim, a Green senator from Tasmania. He certainly has his priorities in the right order of having people and their well-being and safety at the top. And so obviously I knew he was the senator that would care about something like this. And so I received this message: "Hello, thanks for posting the footage from Christmas Island. I would like to raise this in the Senate. Can you confirm any further details, like exactly when the footage was taken?" And so I tracked down the details to get it to him in time for him to go and speak about it in the Senate. And yes, my lovely audience, I got that for you to watch as well. Let's go.
Thank you, President. My question is to the Minister representing the Minister for Immigration and the Minister for Home Affairs. Minister, can you confirm that earlier this year there was a significant disturbance or riot at the Christmas Island Detention Centre that involved up to 200 canisters of tear gas being fired into the compound? What was the nature of the disturbance, and were there any injuries? What steps were taken to ensure the safety of the family from Biloela who are detained nearby? Were the family, in particular the young children, impacted in any way, including psychologically? What measures has the government taken since to assess the impact on the family, in particular the children, and to ensure their well-being?
The Minister representing the Ministers for Immigration and Home Affairs, Senator Cash.
Thank you, Mr President, and I thank Senator McKim for the question. Senator McKim, I understand you are referring to an incident that occurred in February of this year, February 2021, whereby a male detainee was seen on the roof of a building at Villawood Detention Centre. In relation to then what you are referring to, I will need to take that on notice and get you some further advice on that. In relation to the Biloela family itself, that was part of the question. Again, Senator McKim, and I know we've talked through this before, and I think it is one of those issues that we will need to agree to disagree on in relation to that. But you'd be aware that the full court of the Federal Court, their judgment was recently delivered, and certainly the full Federal Court, the department is now considering the implications of that decision, as you know. But again, if I go back to the history of the Biloela family, just to remind the chamber that both adults arrived in Australia, Senator McKim, as you know, as illegal maritime arrivals, meaning that they paid a people smuggler and arrived in Australia illegally by boat, and after arriving in Australia illegally by boat, they met and they had 2 children. Since 2012, and again, Senator McKim, I know you are aware of these facts, but just to ensure that we are placing them again on the record, the family's claim to engage Australia's protection obligations have been comprehensively assessed, as you know, and the family has consistently been found not to be owed protection. But again, Senator McKim, in relation to the issue that you raised at the beginning of your question, to the extent that I can, I will seek further information for you and ensure that you are provided with that information.
Senator McKim, a supplementary question.
Thanks, President. And just to assist the Minister, I believe it was about early to mid-January on Christmas Island. Minister, how much money has your government spent needlessly detaining the family from Biloela, and how much have you spent on legal costs against that family to date? How can you possibly justify that expenditure?
Senator Cash.
Well, again, Senator McKim, we're going to have to agree to disagree. You and I have done this dance before, and I don't propose to do the dance again. But I do need to remind the chamber that a fundamental difference between the Morrison government, those on the coalition side of politics, and in particular Senator McKim, the Australian Greens and the Australian Labor Party, is that we believe in sovereign borders. That is it. Full stop.
Senator Cash, Senator McKim on a point of order. Order on my left. Senator McKim on a point of order.
Thank you very much, President. Point of order on relevance.
Senator Cash.
Thank you, Mr President. As I was saying, Senator McKim, $17 billion, that is how I'm justifying it. $17 billion worth of taxpayers' money had to be outlaid to protect Australians from your border protection failures. 50,000 people arriving on 800 boats, 1,200 lives lost at sea, 8,000 children detained while Labor was in government, and in July 2013, let's just remind people, 10,201 people in detention.
Time for the answer has expired. Senator Cash, time for the answer has expired. There was too much noise approaching the end of that answer. Even I was having trouble hearing the minister. Senator McKim.
Thank you. As a final supplementary, could I ask the minister to clarify, was she actually saying that she has spent $17 billion imprisoning and in legal action against the Biloela family? Could you first address that, please, Minister? Secondly, why are you ignoring the hundreds of thousands of Australians who've called for this innocent family's release? How much more money will you spend trying to deport them and needlessly detaining them? And why will you not do the right thing and return them to where they are loved and supported in Biloela?
Senator Cash.
Well, thank you, Mr President. And Senator McKim, I'm just going to have to completely reject the premise of your question. In answer to your question, let me just remind you, Senator McKim, that on this side of the chamber, the Morrison government side of the chamber, we believe in sovereign borders. We will determine who comes to this country and the circumstances in which they come.
Order.
When you refer to the Biloela family, I need to remind you that the principle is this. Both adults arrived in Australia as illegal maritime arrivals, meaning, Senator McKim, they paid a people smuggler and they arrived in Australia illegally by boat. You may, Senator McKim, think that is okay.
Sorry, Senator McKim, on a point of order.
In fact, the entirety of that family did not arrive
Senator McKim,
in Australia.
what is your point of order? What is your point of order, Senator McKim?
The minister's misleading the Senate.
Senator McKim, the content of answers is debated after question time. Can I ask senators for a little bit less disorder, please? Senator Cash.
Well, thank you, Mr President. And again, the fundamental difference, colleagues, is this. The Greens want to give the keys to our borders back to the people smugglers, and we say no. We say no.
Order.
We've taken
Senator
back
Thorpe
control
on
of
a
our
point
borders.
of order. I have Senator Thorpe on a point of order. Order. Senator Keneally. Senator Thorpe on a point of order.
Thank you, Mr President. And my point of order is in relation to misleading the chamber on talking about sovereign borders.
I'm afraid, Senator
As
Thorpe,
a sovereign
Senator Thorpe,
woman,
please. Senator
sovereignty
Thorpe,
belongs
Senator Thorpe,
to us,
please
and that
resume
family
your
is...
seat. Senator Thorpe, points of order must be about the standing orders. I'm not going to allow points of order to debate the content of answers, and I will take that very strictly. Senator Cash to continue.
Thank you, Mr President. The Morrison government, the coalition government, have taken back control of our borders from the people smugglers.
Order, Senator Cash, time for the answers expired.
First of all, fantastic job to Senator McKim. 200 tear gas canisters. That's insane. From what I can tell, there's only like 200 people being held on Christmas Island. That's almost like a canister per person. And now a quick few points I want to make about the family that Senator McKim speaks about. I've made videos about them before, detailing their story, and I go through the letter I get back from the Prime Minister after I wrote to him about them. And the points I just want to bring up today, I did not feel good about the judge that was assigned to that case, Richard Conway White, because he was the same judge that said it didn't go against the Racial Discrimination Act to prevent Aboriginal people from voting with everyone else on whether a nuclear waste facility was built near the town of Kimber, South Australia. So I did not feel good about that at all. And my next point about the family is the two daughters were born in Australia. What's on the children's birth certificate? Do they even have birth certificates? Where does it say they were born? Because how can you be deporting people that were born here? And now, as for Senator Cash, it is frightening that no matter what topic I seem to be talking about, she seems to be involved. Alright, and let's just talk about the questions that Senator McKim asked, which Senator McCash didn't really even address, because he asked if she knew about this, and she didn't. Okay, unlike the Brittany Higgins situation, this I actually believe Senator Cash when she says she didn't know about it. I actually believe that she doesn't have any idea of what Senator McKim was talking about. That seemed genuine. Senator McKim asked if this had any impact on the family, especially the 2 young children. Senator Cash did not address that at all in the slightest, in my opinion. Then she was asked how much money has been spent on detaining the family and how much has been spent on legal costs to keep the family detained. And I still think it's wild that her answer, the number she said was $17 billion. Is that actually to answer his question about how much for this one family? Because part of me is like, nah, she must be talking about how much Christmas Island has cost us all up since the beginning. If that was an honest answer to the actual question, oh my fucking god. Oh, now, sovereign borders. Okay, protecting our borders. A lot of good that did when a fucking cruise ship came here and brought the coronavirus when we were already well aware that a global pandemic was happening. Everyone was tested, and then they were let off the boat. She said that 1,500 people died at sea. 900 people died from the coronavirus. Protecting our borders from what? And giving the keys back to the people smugglers. Yeah, I bet their sales pitch is, hey, if you get in this boat and go there and let them lock you up for a bit, and maybe if you have kids there and then they lock up you and your kids and like a couple of 100,000 Australians write to the government in protest, you might, maybe they might let you back. Well, you fucking mean. And like I've always said from like one of the first few videos I've ever made on this channel, if it was a big problem, why aren't you going and addressing it at the root of the issue? Go and help the countries so they don't have to have people flee and get in boats and come here. Take away the business from the people smugglers instead of trying to imprison people trying to flee a fucked up situation. Oh, it's disgraceful. $17 billion. I still don't believe it, and how many times I've rewatched this. I had to hear both senators say it to actually go, yeah, with a B. $17 billion spent on not even keeping us safe because they didn't stop the coronavirus when they already knew that was coming. And now I've got a 2-minute clip with a quick explanation on how things are on Christmas Island by the guy who filmed that footage that I showed you. The guy that got the footage of the burning buildings and got them online, and so then I could get them further online. This is Les.
Hi, my name is Les. I'm on Christmas Island currently at the moment. I've been in detention for 14 months. I just want to explain a few things to people out there that don't really understand what's going on. This thing with Peter Dutton saying that on the Ray Hadley radio show, saying that we're all pedophiles, rapists, murderers. It's not the case at all. It's not true at all. Yeah, they do have them here, over in a different section. But the majority of around 200 people on here, they're not in here for that reason at all. They're not murderers, they're not pedophiles, and they're certainly not certainly not rapists. A lot of people in here for stealing, basic little things that they've done wrong in their life. DUI, AVOs, as I said, stealing. It's nothing like what he's portraying. We're not all bad people. And that's the problem. We're not all bad people. A lot of people have been here all their lives from another country. Been here. I've been here 53 years. But it doesn't seem to make a difference. He just keeps putting in that same category as they're saying that we're all the same, but we're not all the same. So I just want to get that across and clear that up for the people out there. I'm in here. I'm away from my family. I'm missing my family every day like crazy. Yep, I did wrong. I went to jail. I've done my time. I got my parole. And still they put me in here for 14 months now. My charges are only I didn't do 100 hours of community service, and I got caught for DUI. So this joke with Peter Dutton saying that we're all rapists and pedophiles, it's nonsense. It's a load of nonsense. And I think it's about time that we got it out there and we let the public know that we're not all tarred with the same brush. Thank you.
14 months, well 16 months by now, is a very long time. Now let's talk about what Les just told us a little bit. He told us that he's been in Australia for 53 years. Well, I can tell you that he's 54 years old. So he came here when he was 1. Now, I would assume that when you're that age, you're not in charge of sorting out your papers. And then I don't understand how you could be in Australia for half a century and citizenship never comes up. And then also how he was already in prison. He's done a crime and did his time, got out and then got done again for something minor, and so they try to deport him? Why did you lock him up in the first place? Why are we spending taxpayers' money on locking up people that you intend on deporting? And then on top of that, all the money that we are spending on keeping him held there, 14 months. And then let's continue on with this thought process. So he is to be deported to the United Kingdom. That's where his family came from 53 years ago. And so he doesn't really have anyone there. He doesn't know anyone. Everyone he knows is in Australia, his family. He has a grandchild that was born he hasn't met yet. But they want to send him to the UK. Now, would he be going there to be locked up for a DUI that happened in Australia? Or is he going to be sent there as a free man, which will be 54 years old? Probably not going to be easy for him to get employment. I don't know about the UK's benefit system, but can you see how I think they won't be too impressed about just having people deported for those reasons? And either way, free man or imprisoned, how is it their problem? Because he can't just go and stay with his family. He doesn't have any family there. So it seems like Australia would just send him to go be homeless in another country he hasn't been to since he was a baby. Does the UK allow that? Is that actually what they agreed to? And now my other point, the fires and the destruction of the buildings and everything that we saw in that footage, what kicked that off was the Wi-Fi being disconnected, and so nobody there could speak to their loved ones elsewhere. And you noticed that Les had a phone, and when he spoke to the media, they took his phone off of him for a while. If you check on some bills that our politicians vote on, you'll see that there are some about preventing people on Christmas Island and in detention centres from having phones. And this is obviously why. They don't want us to see this. Because then, leading back to my point about the Wi-Fi, if there were criminals like Peter Dutton tries to tell us, why are we giving them Wi-Fi? Why are they allowed to have phones? Kind of makes me think they're not really criminals. Like, I believe they probably do have a few actual real bad people somewhere on that island, but obviously can't be the majority, because why are you putting them in a fucking complex with computers and Wi-Fi? Now let's also talk about how, so all we can confirm that What Do You Mean can say for sure that the people on Christmas Island, out of the 200 odd people, the ones we know of, we have a grandfather done for DUI and not doing community service. He's already served time here, so, you know, spending money all round on incarceration. And then a family of 4 with 2 Australian-born children, and their crime was seeking asylum. Yeah, $17 billion well spent by the sounds of it. But no sprinklers, no sprinkler system to put out fires. If you watch the last video I uploaded where Scott Morrison does a little walkthrough, looks like a pretty nice building. Doesn't have any sort of fire extinguishing system. Nah, spend all that money but cut those corners. Which then leads me to the question, how did the fires start? How are people that are meant to be detained getting their hands on stuff to start a fire? You see how you can't really have one without the other? If they're criminals, they wouldn't have these things, so they seem like they're just people that we're locking up. And as you would imagine, you'll probably start to lose it. Probably, especially because with actual prison, they give you a time, a date when you're going to leave. You have your sentence for an amount of time. People on Christmas Island don't have that. They're there indefinitely. That is how you make people go insane. 53 years. How are we deporting people that were here for 53 years and children that were born here? And that's who we're housing on Christmas Island for monstrous amounts of money. And that a YouTube channel of a nobody in their lounge room is exposing this for you. Oh, this country, man. And with that said, thanks for watching. like, subscribe, share this video, click the little bell thing, do whatever will help my channel, please, because you're obviously helping more than just me. You're helping out other people that are in absolutely awful situations. Thank you very much.
These motherfuckers shooting fucking tear gas into the fucking compound, these cunts. Motherfuckers. Oh, fuck. Oh. Fucking dirty cunts. Fucking shooting fucking tear gas into the fucking place. Fuck you, dog.